Hey, it's Barry, and it's another project. It's time to do the window regulators back behind this door panel on a 2006 GMC 3500 dually pickup. Now, this is the same, I think, from 99 through 2006 or 2007. So what we have to do is get inside this door panel and change out the window regulator, which is a couple of bars, a motor, and a few cables. It's a cable-driven lift system on this type of thing. Not like the old X-frames a lot of people are used to. You crank it and the things go, and they push up the window. Listen, first thing you want to do is put the window down some, okay? Normally when you're replacing one of these regulators, it's because the window won't go up. This is where it's stuck. It goes up and down about that much, which means probably one of the cables has unspiraled a little bit. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's go over what the window regulator is, then we're going to talk about taking this apart. Okay, this is the new regulator. Here it is. Your window is attached up here. These two clamps hold it in place. It's driven by the motor right here. These cables run all the way through. It's a big figure 8, back in. That's how that works. There are many different versions of these things, manufacturers of these things, and they all come a little bit different. One of the interesting things is most of the ones I've seen have this little pigtail on it. The pigtail takes the place of the direct plug into the motor that came from GM. Not a big deal. You just plug into that. It's all the same. That's not a problem. The cable on the last one I put one in on the right-hand side, and I'm doing this one. The other one I'm doing is preventive maintenance because if this one went, that one's going to go. The other one had a light grease on the cable. This one doesn't have anything on it. It doesn't have it on the track, and it doesn't have it anywhere on it. I always grease them, and I typically put a wheel bearing grease on them because if these things fray, that's when you have your problems. If you grease them, they're less likely to have an issue. So I always put a light coating of wheel bearing grease on them. It goes up through the cable, up through the housing, through the sheathing, and everything's fine there. So I recommend you do that. That's what it looks like from the bottom. This is what it looks like from the top. And that's the side you're going to be looking at when you install it. So let's get this started. To take the door panel off, it's very easy. You pop this out, comes out of the screwdriver. You just jam it in there, pop it out. You take off this cover right here. There's a bolt right there. It's 8mm, so you're gonna want that. And I think that's about it. And then GM really did this right. You know, instead of having those clips that plug into everything all over the place and you end up breaking the panels and all that, with this one, you just go like this and pop it up and it pops right off. Wow, this thing's already loose. Wonder who was into this thing. Probably me. So let's get this started. Alrighty, it's been less than 30 seconds since I had the camera on last for this transition. The 8mm bolt is missing. I don't know where it went. Cookie Monster ate it. I don't know. But this should just pop right off now. There it is. It's off. Right there. Let's see these. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. I'll move back here. Right there. You can see them. They just pop off. So the last thing you have is an electrical plug going to the switch right here. You just have to pop that off, and that's not difficult at all. That's just a matter of pulling it, and it's off. Door panel's done. Wonder why it only takes them about 12 minutes to build these trucks. Okay, do yourself a favor when you're doing this. You're gonna peel this off here, which is gonna involve taking your speaker off. You're gonna take off your door handle here, and you have to pop the clip right here. This is pretty easy here. This just pulls back. Big screwdriver for that. Big screwdriver, not really. There you go. That rod pops right out then. Lifts up out of there. The rest of that will happen when you take the door handle off. And then you have your one up here that just for your lock, that just pops out of here. It pops out here and then fishes down here. Remember, take a picture of this so you're not all confused on where stuff goes through this plastic. And please put the plastic back. It's a good barrier. You should definitely do that. So this pops off. It just snakes down there. You want that out of the way. and you want this out of the way, and of course your speaker. So we're gonna take that off. No need for you to watch that. Okay, real quick, when taking this door handle out, I've taken the 10mm head bolt out of here. The rod is obviously a little stuck there. There it goes, I got it. And that's because this moves out. After you unbolt it, you just go like this. Pull it forward, and it pops right out. Another very cool setup by GM. They just slip that in and slip it out. Pretty neat. And I'm usually a ball buster with GM. You have to take out this frame for the speaker too. It's 3 10mm. I think it's 10mm bolts around here too. When you're doing this, do yourself a favor. Just peel this thing down. Don't peel it back. Peel it down and just let it hang. On my truck, it's high enough that it won't even touch the ground, but peel it down. Alrighty, now it's fully exposed. Bam. The original factory ones were black. The one I replaced on the other side was black. This one is silver, as you saw. There are 4 bolt-in points for this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it. There's also one place for the motor right back here. Okay? That's it. They're all, what are they, 10mm? Bingo. Take all those out. Okay. Now the window regulator is free and easy. Okay, everything's out. The 2 bottom ones are studs, and it's a bolt that holds in the window regulator motor. But, remember I said this thing's stuck down here because the cable went bad, right? A couple things you got to remember. Before you put the new regulator in, the clamps here, right, that the window goes in, you need to loosen them. See that nut? Loosen them up. Otherwise, if you don't, it's not going to fit in when you do it. Guess what? You got to do that when you take the old window out. Okay? Now I can do this one really easily. This one's stuck behind the motor. So I'm going to have to get a 10mm wrench and loosen that up. Those clamps will come up. Then I can lift this window up out of the way. Now some people tape them in place. Some people stick a stick in. I have no idea what I'm going to do on this one because I haven't decided yet. So, let's get to it. Okay, I've got the window up. I'm holding it in place with a broken stir stick back to the escutcheon area, the relief area for the door handle, for the outside door handle. Everything's ready to go. Obviously, I loosened these up to pop this up out. So we're ready to go. You want to take it out this side. You could certainly try and take it out on the motor side, but you can see how small that hole is, right? It's pretty small. You want to take it out this side. So you scrunch it up and you work it out. Now, I'm going to let you watch me do this, and then I'm probably going to have to put it in fast motion because it's awkward. There's no pretty way to do it. So let me get it done. Oops, I forgot to disconnect the motor. Hold on. By the way, you'll notice I put gloves on because, you know, you got grease on these things, so might as well do that. The motor is right down here. You pop this little blue thing off. That kind of covers the plug. You just heard that pop. And then you just push in and it drops out. There it is. That's all there is to it. Push in on that tab, it pops right out. Now, let's go back to taking this thing out. Again, I may have to speed this up. Okay, you can see I already have one side out. That was way too easy. Something's gonna go wrong on the install. Okay, now I don't pre-grease these tracks. I do it afterwards because obviously you're gonna be handling them a lot. And here it is. I'm gonna plug this in. The one thing I don't like is that you can see that the clamps are all the way at the top. Well, that makes it difficult to pop it up to the window. I don't like doing that. It makes it hard to work it. So I like to run them down a little bit. So I'm going to re-plug in the window switch and then drop the motor. I'm going to drop these down a little bit using the motor because that's the only way you can do it with a cable fed one. So I'm going to hook the plug up to this, up to the little pigtail there, and drop them down. Okay, turn the key on. Okay, I just zipped them down a little bit. Don't forget to take the little protectors off of the studs. Otherwise, you'll never be able to get your nuts on there. I'm going to leave them on there till I get it in place. Okay, it drops right in place. It's not too complex. It's the same holes. Don't forget to do the one for your motor. And for the love of God, don't forget to plug in your wiring harness, because if you bolt this down and then try and do it, and your wiring harness is in the wrong place, you're taking it all out, okay? When you're tightening these things down, by the way, don't over grunt them. Bring them in. I use a shorty ratchet. Put it in. Kind of. That's about it. That's all you need. Just kind of bring it in there and tighten it down, but don't over crank it, or else you'll really be asking for problems. Same thing with the top ones, the actual bolts, as opposed to the studs with the nuts on them. Okay, so once that's done, I got a little extra thing I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'll be back. Okay, I took out my stir stick. I lowered the window down. It's now in the little clamp areas. Don't forget to tighten them up. Again, they don't have to be super killer tight. You just want to be snug. Okay, if you go too tight, I don't know what happens to the tempered glass, and I don't want to find out. That's done. Okay, the last thing you want to do on this, not the really last thing, but you get it. You want to test this. I've hooked my door panel back up in here. You have to have it hooked up in order to do it. You can't run it from the front. You run it all the way down, you run it all the way up. Now, I've already done it, so I know it works and nothing's broken. But you should do it kind of slow, just in case anything binds or there's some kind of weird issue. But it's good there. I do recommend you do what you want, but make sure you grease these tracks, okay? Grease out where it's running down there. And make sure, because you can feel that cable I told you about before, get some grease on that too. It never hurts to do that. Do both sides, run it down in there and do that. The last thing is the inside of my door shells are really nice, okay? So I'm going to put some fluid film down in there. I'm just going to smear it all in my hands. The same stuff I spray underneath my trucks. You can use that. You can wheel bearing grease. You can do anything. But anything to keep the water from settling down in there and getting into those welds. I like the fluid film because it's a little bit thinner. But I'm going to smear it down in there. And that way, I have a protected surface. And hopefully, I can get another 10 years out of this truck before it rots. So that's all I got. I'm not going to show you how to put it back together because you took it apart. So good luck on that. I'm Barry. Thanks for watching. I hope I helped you out.